Metal Gear Solid as a series is built around memorable moments that excel at storytelling, gameplay, or a combination of both. Moments that leave players' jaws hanging, and moments that we remember for years afterwards. From single scenes to spectacular boss fights to entire missions and sequences that keep us on the edge of our seats. In this feature, we're going to be focusing entirely on the latter, and count off what are 15 of our favorite missions, sections, or sequences from Metal Gear games. Do note that this feature has spoilers for all Metal Gear Solid games, so proceed at your own risk.
Damn it! Incoming! Move!
HELLBOUND, The Phantom Pain. Metal Gear Solid 5 was very different from the other games in the series, letting players loose in vast open-world environments brimming with interlocking systems and mechanics. But many veteran fans of the series would tell you that the game's best parts were those that focused on classic stealth and smaller, tightly designed environments and structures. Of these, the 12th mission of the game, HELLBOUND, is without a doubt a highlight of the game. The large and sprawling central base camp is expertly designed, and sneaking through the highly fortified location while making use of your gadgets and pure skill while avoiding scores of enemies is the closest the game ever comes to delivering the sort of tense, handcrafted stealth scenarios the series has always been known for.
Dr. Emmerich.
Snake? Hey, what gives? Ah! Let me go! No! Give me back my legs!
Right on schedule. Now bring him back to Mother Base.
Deactivating Rex, Metal Gear Solid. One might argue that all of Metal Gear Solid 1 can be looked at as one single mission, but there are certainly sections of the game that stand out in memory more than the others. For instance, taking the PAL keys, changing their temperatures, and deactivating Rex, or trying to at any rate. Looking for 3 PAL keys and then looking for ways to get them to the right temperatures requires actual thinking and engagement on the part of the players. And back when we were all playing through this for the very first time, when we didn't have guides and walkthroughs to fall back on, it was actually something that could leave you stumped. Deactivating the bombs, Sons of Liberty. Similar to the PAL keys in the first game, deactivating the C4 charges in Metal Gear Solid 2 is something that takes Raiden across all of Big Shell, and still stands as one of the best sections of the entire game. There's a lot of backtracking involved, yes, but it's the right kind of backtracking, the one that requires you to carefully analyze and explore older environments from a different light. The stakes that are involved inject a whole lot of tension as well, making the entire sequence that much more engaging. Infiltrating Outer Haven, Guns of the Patriots. The final hours of Metal Gear Solid 4 were some of the most emotionally draining we've ever experienced in a game, as the climax started building up and things started coming to a head, and when Snake began his infiltration of Outer Heaven, things really kicked into gear. Everything after that is just pure stealth and storytelling bliss. Tensions are running high, the stakes are even higher, there's some excellent level design and stealth gameplay to be had, and of course, who could forget the microwave scene. Code Talker, The Phantom Pain. Episode 28, Code Talker, makes perfect use of both indoor and outdoor environments. It first tasks you with making your way through a forest while 4 skull snipers hunt for you, and after you get past that encounter, you then have to sneak through a mansion and find a way into its basement, where you meet the titular Code Talker, following which you have to safely escape to the LZ with the old man. It's a tense mission that allows for a lot of experimentation on the player's part, and a perfect marriage between the tightly designed stealth of older Metal Gear games and the emergent and systemic nature of the Phantom Pain. Groznyj Grad, Snake Eater. Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the greatest games ever made. That's not really a controversial statement. So when we say that Volgan's base is perhaps one of the best sections of not only that game, but the entire series, you know that's not praise that's lightly given. It's large and sprawling, it's expertly designed, it's rife for tense stealth, and there's so many important story developments that happen during this particular section of the game. There's also the fact that it's very reminiscent of the more indoor-focused stealth of older Metal Gear games that was all about the outdoors, bringing a great balance to the whole package. Tanker Mission, Sons of Liberty. You get to play as Solid Snake. Really, that should be enough to guarantee a spot on this list for the opening section of Metal Gear Solid 2, but there's so much more going on. It kicks the game off with the loudest of bangs, from both a storytelling and level design standpoint. And back when we first played it on the PS2, it was also a perfect advert for how masterfully the game would use the console's hardware to deliver a much more immersive and realistic stealth experience. Skullface, The Phantom Pain. Probably one of the best missions in all of Metal Gear Solid 5, no matter what you're looking for. From a storytelling standpoint, Venom Snake's confrontation with Skullface feels suitably momentous. From a gameplay standpoint, sneaking through the heavily defended OKB-0 is pure joy, owing largely to how well designed the location is, to the point where you could spend hours messing around in the area. Episode 30 as a whole is a peek at how spectacular Metal Gear Solid 5 could have been, had its development gone more smoothly.
We both are demons. Our humanity won't return. You, me, we've no place to run. Nowhere to hide.
Eastern Europe Bike Chase, Guns of the Patriots. No other game in the Metal Gear series is as full of incredible cinematic moments as Metal Gear Solid 4, almost to a fault at times, and the motorcycle chase in Eastern Europe during Act 3 is perhaps one of the best cinematic moments in the entire game. From a gameplay perspective, it's not exactly the most complex, nor is it the longest, but it's a thrilling sequence nonetheless, thanks to its excellent direction and the way it's framed in the story at a particularly crucial moment.
Snake, are you okay?
Final Bike Chase, Snake Eater. Metal Gear Solid 4 is far from the only game in the series to have had a rad bike chase. Metal Gear Solid 3 also had one. Some, in fact, might say that this is the better chase sequence. Not only is it suitably dramatic and climactic from a storytelling perspective, it can also be fairly challenging, as Snake tried to escape from the scene while fighting scores of enemy soldiers and Shagohod. Prologue, The Phantom Pain. While Metal Gear Solid 5 is surprisingly unfocused on storytelling and telling a direct narrative and makes it a point to let players do whatever they want, its prologue is cut from a very different cloth. It's highly directed, extremely linear, and full of bizarre sights and sounds, but boy is it a roller coaster, especially when you're going through it for the very first time. From the first appearances of Quiet, the Third Child, and the Man on Fire, to the tense games of hide and seek you play while you watch other patients get butchered by enemy soldiers, to the crazy hallucinations of a giant whale, and so much more. The Phantom Pain's prologue is truly spectacular. Camp Omega, Ground Zeroes. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes Camp Omega is what all of the Phantom Pain should have been like. It's the perfect combination of open-world freedom, systems-driven emergent gameplay, solid storytelling, and expert level design. When we first played Ground Zeroes, it felt like a perfect open-world evolution of the Metal Gear formula, and gave us so much confidence for what the Phantom Pain was going to be, to the extent that Camp Omega is probably some of the best level design we've ever seen in the series, which is really saying something. Virtuous Mission, Snake Eater. Metal Gear Solid 3's story only begins in earnest once the boss betrays Snake, but there's plenty else that goes on before then. The entire prologue, or the Virtuous Mission, is, without reservations, pure genius. It is a perfect introduction to the game's jungle setting, teaching new mechanics to players and demanding that they make proper use of them at the same time, while also throwing you into one exciting situation after another. US Missile Base, Peace Walker. Probably one of the best missions in all of Peace Walker, a game that is frankly full of great missions. For starters, the US military base is yet another example of that excellent level design that we've spoken of so much in this feature, simultaneously large and tightly crafted. It's also exactly as challenging as it should be, with plenty of guards and drones and other roadblocks in your way that you can get past if you patiently engage with the game's stealth the way you're supposed to. Mission 23 is, without a doubt, Peace Walker at its best. Shining lights, even in death. The Phantom Pain. Unlike most missions in the Phantom Pain, Episode 43 isn't as memorable as it is for how well it makes use of the game's emergent mechanics, but entirely for its storytelling reasons. Making your way through Mother Base and eliminating all infected soldiers that you recruited and fought with. Even as they salute you and willingly give their lives, it's an absolutely heart-wrenching moment. The mission is capped off with an equally excellent moment, defined by great acting from all characters involved. From Venom Snake's refusal to throw the ashes of his soldiers into the sea, to Huey's panicked justification for what he did, to Kaz's outraged tirade at Snake when he decides that Huey will not be executed.
I will always be with you. Plant your roots in me. You're all diamonds.
We're not burying them at sea. What then?
We'll make diamonds from their ashes. Take them into battle with us.
A shining light to our brothers in arms, even in death.
We are diamond dogs.
And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.